Go. Hi, everybody. I'm Maria Yaksha, and I have the privilege of serving at Calvary Chapel University as the alumni president. And one of the greatest joys that I have is getting to meet so many amazing men and women who have gone through CCU, graduated, and then have gone on to serve the Lord in various capacities. And I don't know if you know anything different today about my living room studio, but I am joined in person with our July Alum of the Month, Josie Bromby.
Hello.
Hello. This
Excited
is
to be
so
here.
much fun. I've actually got like a living person next to me instead of being on Zoom, which is so much fun. And last month, as I was going through May birthdays and just sending a quick email out, I noticed that Josie lives not too far from me. And so I reached out. I'm like, hey, do you think you can grab lunch? So we had lunch last week. So much fun. And then we're able to do the interview today in person. So congratulations for being alum of the month.
Thank you. I'm very excited.
So Josie graduated with her master's in biblical counseling. What year was that?
2023.
Wow, it's been a few years.
Yeah, I guess it has.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. I just am so just in awe of what the Lord has done in your life. I mean, you're just a beautiful young woman. You love the Lord, you're serving Him. Something else that you have a very sweet passion for. We can talk about that later. But let's see. Can you give us just like a 1 minute testimony for everybody watching so they can get to know you?
Yeah, well, I guess I have the classic, like, born and raised in church. My parents are very strong Christians, so I was raised in a Christian household.
Mhm.
They always believed that the church was a supplement for what you teach in home, and so
Yes.
I've never not known
Oh,
Jesus.
that is the
So
best.
people ask, "Oh, when were you saved?" I can't tell you. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know. I've never not known him.
That's wonderful. Well, I'm reading the book Harvest for one of my classes, and it gives the testimonies of a lot of the early men in the 60s and early 70s that came to Calvary out of the hippie movement. And John Corson, same testimony, was just raised with godly parents, and at like, I think 3-ish, gave his life to the Lord. But I mean, what a wonderful testimony that God has kept you and just instilled his word in you, and you have parents that just love the Lord. um, and so it's beautiful. So one of the things at CCU that we our core values are simply Jesus, superior academics, and servant leadership. And Josie, you're just an example of all of those, but in the sense that you love the Lord, you love his people. Something near and dear to my heart. My husband and I have a daughter with special needs, and you serve in a special needs ministry. And then you're also a caregiver for families who have children with special needs, which is also very, very sweet. But then just I see how you have, strived in a good way to just be educated and trained, and then you're serving the Lord in a biblical counseling, ministry business job. And so uh, you're just an example of all that we just hold dear at CCU. So um, was there something about CCU that was a blessing for you?
Oh, yes. There's multiple things, obviously, but the one that really sticks out to me, I think, was the type of education that it was, because I've always had like a mind for psychology and for other people's brains.
Uh-huh.
I've always loved helping people, and so when I started school, I went to my community college for 2 years, and I was majoring in psychology, learning about that. And then I took 10 months off to go to Bible college. And then after that, I transferred into CCU.
Mhm.
And part of the reason why I transferred into CCU is because I was considering my career path. Did I want licensure? Did I want to go the therapy route? Did I want to go to social work? And I had some friends who are older than me and who are therapists and have their license. And so they advised me, they were like, listen, especially in California, if you pursue the licensure route, you're not going to be able to provide biblical care. They say, we have our license, we've had it for years and years and years, but if we were your age and doing it again, we would go for biblical counseling because it gives you a wider scope of how you're able to help people.
Yeah.
And so that was a major, major consideration as going to CCU, because I do have flexibility to help people as, as Jesus would help them. I can provide them what I know is the ethical best care. Pointing them back to Jesus and saying, this is the foundation. This is where we get our morals, our standards.
Yeah.
This is where you get your self-confidence.
Yes.
I don't have to, have the state breathing down my neck saying, where's your player license? So anyway, so that was possibly my number one consideration when it came to going down this route.
I love that. It makes me think of Pastor Chuck, and he had wanted to go to medical school, and then the Lord really just like spoke to him in the sense that like, okay, you could help people on a physical level, but by going into the ministry and teaching God's word, you can help people spiritually be healed and do a much greater work. And so, Josie, how did the Lord use CCU in your life? I mean, you've gone through biblical counseling, and then now you get to have your own business.
Oh yeah.
So, what does that look like?
Very crazy. So when I finished CCU, my master's program, I was already moved back home from college because I was living on a Bible college campus for a different program. So I was kind of concurrently enrolled for a little bit. But anyway, moved home, and then I had job offers from different therapy practice areas who were looking for what I had to provide. They're looking for more of the coaching, counseling thing. And as I was considering them, a couple of them fell through, and then the other ones I just didn't feel right about taking. And so I had this thought one day, like, could I do it on my own?
Yeah.
And then I went to my adults group that night, and my pastor taught this message about, Jeremiah 1. I think I told you.
Yes. Yeah.
Because the entire day that I was turning it around in my head, like, could I do this? Could I do this? I'm like, no, I'm too young, whatever. And then there he goes with Jeremiah 1. And so, sorry, your question was, how CCU been a blessing?
Yeah, well, and how has God used CCU in your life? So
because of my education and, the people that I met or already knew in the Calvary world, I had the perfect, not easy, but perfect roadmap for going into my own practice and just like starting from scratch.
Wow. That is so amazing. I mean, you're, can we tell people you're 24?
Oh yeah, I'm 24.
You're 24. And it's just so neat to see just God's providence and his hand upon your life, and how, he led you to CCU, from another Bible college. And then, just how he's given you this, ministry job. And definitely a ministry.
The ministry and job intersection is very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Especially because I don't work at a church.
Right.
But it is definitely a ministry.
Of course.
It's fascinating.
And then was there anything that surprised you besides you? Yeah, just the school, like say a traditional class, would be 3 hours going physically.
Yeah.
How is it online for you?
Honestly, I can't really say that much surprises me because I was in community college when COVID happened. So I was there for the full online thing.
Oh gosh. So that must have been hard.
Like trial by fire online.
Sure. But everybody had to switch, right?
Yeah. But even then, like, I've had a wide and varied education throughout my lifetime, so I don't really get surprised much. I did enjoy the flexibility.
I was going to say,
I love that it was asynchronous. That was another big selling point for me because when online classes, like, you have to meet at a certain time, I can't always do that.
Of course.
Especially because when I was at CCU, I was working 40 hours a week.
Wow.
I lived on it was Calvary Bible Institute. I lived on the campus as an intern and RA.
Yeah.
So I was on call 24/7 for students. So I don't really have time to sit in a class at a specific hour.
Right.
So it was that I really appreciated.
So, and this is going to be interesting for some of you. What did a day in the life of Josie the student look like with the online formats?
Okay, so every other day of the week except Friday was just typical work, go to church, admin, kids ministry, whatever, wrangling the children, wrangling Bible college students, interns, whatever. But on Fridays, I go to young adults, come home, and I was on quiet hours when it's quiet and making sure everyone's in for curfew.
Yeah.
So from 10 p.m. to 3 a.m., I would get all my coursework done.
Wow.
That was when I was the most, so sometimes I would say, no, I can just do it on Saturday. It's fine. And what would take me, 10, would take me like 5 hours at
Uh-huh.
night, would take me like 10 during the day.
Wow.
So the 10 p.m. to 3 a.m.
That
Friday night,
was
Saturday
your
morning, that
on
was nighttime.
time.
And then I would go to bed and sleep till 12 p.m. Not
Ah,
12 p.m. Yeah, 12 p.m. the next day.
noon. You earned it.
It worked. So that's how I did it. I don't recommend, but
Well, I certainly would not be able to do that. I'm like, I turn into a pumpkin, around 10 or so. But that's one of the beautiful things at CCU is like we are a flexible university in the sense that you have your deadline, things are due by, Sunday night, 11:59. But then it's like, okay, if you're a night person or
which I totally am.
yeah, or a morning person. And then, for the person that's working full time, it's hard to get to a class that's physically from like 4 to 7 or 6 to 9 or something like that.
Even like a 45-minute lecture, if it were
Sure.
at a specific time, I could not have competed.
Yeah. Um, so now the classes run 8 weeks at a time. Did you take one class at a time when you were working on like your undergrad?
For my master's degree, my last quarter, I had a singular class.
Okay.
But that was just because my whole degree track, I took 4 classes at a time.
Whoa.
And so my last 2 quarters of my degree, it was a 3-class quarter and then a single class quarter. But I took 4 at a time.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That'll keep you reading a lot, that's for sure.
Yes. But fortunately, a lot of the books I'd either already read or I'm just a fast reader naturally.
Okay.
That's the thing. God has really blessed me with the ability to do school.
Yeah.
So a lot of it just came super easily. I was just able to like consume the knowledge, put it on the paper, and just get things done.
Yeah.
So it wasn't as difficult as you might think.
Well, that might be encouraging for somebody watching, thinking like, I could never do this. What would you say to that person that's considering, I've always wanted to either finish my degree, start my degree?
Oh, totally do it. Don't take 4 classes at a time.
Yeah.
Especially if you're working full time. Well, if you're like a high school student and you're going straight into college and this is the only thing you're doing, then sure, start out with like 2, 3, whatever. But if you're working, I'd say start out with 1 class at a time. It's so flexible. It's really like not easy. Well, I would say it's simple. You have your assignments laid out. Teachers are really respectful, especially if you're working. There was one time when my finals coincided with VBS and I was the co-director of kids ministry. Oh, wow. So we had 300 kids, 100 volunteers, and I was doing the whole thing because my other director I don't remember what he had something going on with his family. So it was just me. So finals at VBS, and I had this one little assignment and I emailed my professor. I was like, I'm going to turn it in like an hour late. I'm so sorry. And she was so kind about it. She's like, don't worry, I understand. So if you're communicative and you're doing things, especially when you're serving the Lord, it's so flexible.
Well, and the professors are here to disciple, to come alongside, and they want to see you succeed. They want to see you grow. One, in your relationship with the Lord, they want to see you grow and just be equipped for the calling that God has on your life. And so, of course, when you're involved in ministry, they're going to be understanding. And I don't know about you, but I was very old school. I still am. I like to print my syllabus. I check things off so that I know that I've done it, the assignment, and then can just like mentally get it off my plate. And so you do have everything laid out for you as far as what reading assignments you need to have done. There's a discussion board so that you're interacting with other students. You respond to them. You typically watch a lecture, and that's kind of on your timetable because the link is there, which is flexible.
Yeah.
Structured yet flexible.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing. And so your overall CCU experience, it was good.
It was. Oh yeah, for sure. I really enjoyed it. I think if I had to do it again, I would slow down.
Okay.
That is the one thing that I would say to anybody. I'd say go slower.
Take your time.
1 to 2 at a time. It's not going anywhere.
Right.
Fine.
Right. Yeah. God is good and his timing is perfect.
Yes.
And so for those of you who are considering taking a class and maybe like personally, I was in my mid-40s. I had never finished my degree. I had been homeschooling my kids. And then was like, okay, I really want to go back and tick this box and finish my degree. I always wanted to go to Bible college, but obviously when you're raising three kids, you just don't have a lot of time. But then the Lord opened the door to do that, and that was His timing. And so if you're considering it, don't put it off. Uh, just obey God's voice if He's speaking to you, and just take one class and then see how it goes. And you never know what God might want to do and how He might want to further equip you for the calling that He has on your life. So thank you so much for joining me today in person. This was like so much fun. I need to do this more often. So if you have questions about CCU, you can look at our website, calvarychapeluniversity.edu. You can check out all the different various degrees that we offer, certificate programs, AAs, bachelor's, master's, MDiv. You can even get your doctorate if you want to. So there's no limit to just growing in the Lord. And so thank you for watching today, and the Lord bless you, and we'll see you next month. Bye-bye.